You're watching the 2024 SCAC Men's and Women's Golf Media Days. Today we're taking a look at the Centenary College Ladies and Gents Golf programs. Centenary will be led once again as they head into the season of the guidance of head coach Emlyn Aubrey, along with the leadership from senior Devan Martin on the men's side and sophomore Kaylee Roberts on the women's side. Coach Kaylee, Devan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Coach, we'll open up with you heading into your 16th season as the head coach there of these two programs at Centenary. I'm always interested in the excitement of the start of a new year. What are you most excited about as you gather back with these groups, the season now underway, and what are you looking forward to most as it hopes to unfold here over the course of 2024?
16 years, you say, huh, Russell? Boy, that makes me feel old. But anyway, it's always fun having the new kids coming in. Last year we just, on our ladies side, we just had Kaylee as an individual for the year. So just happy to have a team around her. And although young, we're trying to get them going, comfortable on the golf course, comfortable at a new level coming out of high school. So, there's some growing pains there, but at the same time, it's nice to have a full team and get those team scores back up on the leaderboard. On the Gent side, everybody's returned this year except for our one addition, Chance Snell, came in as a freshman this year. So, just trying to rely on their experience that they've had for several years. Devan being a fifth-year senior, Drew Bennett, he's a senior. He'll be back next year, but just trying to rely on some of that experience that they've had over the last few years, and hopefully things can click and we can be, we're always looking for consistency. We seem to have some of those good scores at the top, but then, our counting couple scores are sometimes dragging us down a little bit. So we're just looking for that consistency where we can, have those good scores and then also have all the good scores added to that, 4 out of 6, 4 out of 5 players, whatever. But, we're always looking for that. And, I'm always excited for the year. In the fall, we, had some ups and downs, and then just looking forward to getting this spring started.
Devan, Coach mentions coming into your 5th year senior season. For you, just kind of take me through that mindset, the excitement you have to be back here for this final spring championship semester. And is there a little sense of urgency that maybe you take on, knowing that this is kind of that final year, at least at the collegiate level, moving into the semester?
Yeah, absolutely, Russell. Again, thanks for having us. It's one of those things that you go into school thinking, okay, I have next year, I have the year after that, I've got time. And now, like you said, it's kind of it. This is my last go round. I really have to focus and figure out those few little things that are kind of holding me back, and working on that is kind of one thing that I've been really focused on. So focusing on the next few weeks as we get into season here, coming up really soon, and then into championship season, that's something that getting just me is important, but also getting the team kind of ready for what's to come. Like Coach said, we do have a lot of experience with only one new freshman coming in, and so everybody's kind of been there and done that and knows kind of what to expect, and so that's definitely helpful. And for me, as the 5th year, just trying to keep everybody on the same page and getting that push towards betterness. One thing we like to say is that it is a team sport at the end of the day. But if you're not performing individually, then you're not really helping the team out. So whatever you can do individually to help the team is really important. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on is being there for the younger guys, that whenever they need help or whenever they need something from me, I'm always there for. But also, having that mentality of, I have to perform and I have to do what I need to do as well to help the team is kind of where it's at, and really looking forward to the next few tournaments and seeing what we can do.
Kaylee, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, coming off your 1st year season there at Centenary, coming into this sophomore season, how much did last year, kind of going through the flow of a season, just understanding the expectations that Coach Aubrey has day in and day out within the program. How much did that experience help, gain your confidence coming into this sophomore season? How excited are you to be back? And, just what did you learn over the course last year that will help you out coming into this season?
Yeah, well, so last semester or my first year, I was obviously the only girl on the team. It was a little bit of a struggle, but because of that, I had tons of learning opportunities. I got to see how everything was played out from a much more specific lens, I would say. And because of that, I had to develop I had to really work on my own mental abilities when it came to golf, because I didn't have anybody else to build me up in that sense. I didn't have a team bond or anything like that. So now coming into this season with relatively younger females, I have the ability now to be able to provide that I did not get. And I feel like that has just, I don't know, it boosts my confidence myself because I know that I can help them, and it helps me feel better about our team dynamic because like Devan said, at the end of the day, it's still a team thing. And it also helps boost their individual game as well. So.
Coach, you hit on it a little bit earlier, but bringing in, new athletes into your program, 4 on the women's side this year, the 1 man on the men's side, for you, as you ingratiate these athletes into your programs, what are some things that you try to work on with them early in that process as they work through that transition? And, what are some things maybe you look from early on that, are a sign that kind of give you confidence that, okay, it's starting to click and they're starting to trend in the direction that you're hoping for them to as they get, integrated into these programs?
When a first year kid comes in, plays for me, the first semester is kind of a, that little dance around what, they're wondering how I coach, and I'm wondering how they handle some pressure coming out of high school, or some different pressure coming out of high school. So, a lot of times I get the question that, Coach, you're not saying much that first semester in the fall. And I was like, well, we're just trying to, I want to see what your tendencies are. I want to see what, what you may be learning here in a short period of time, as opposed to 3 or 4 or 5 years and coming through high school. So it's just kind of a grace period, I think, that we're trying to see about each other. Obviously everybody's different, everybody's coaching they take to coaching differently, and so we're just trying to work on that now. This coming into this semester, I think everybody knows what to expect. So they know what I'm going to say to them, how I'm going to help them. And then as well as, I know what their tendencies are on the golf course, whether it's playing well and then getting a little nervous and, maybe not playing well at the finish, or maybe vice versa. There's a little nervous early on, and then, settle down, relax, and finish around a golf well. So everybody's different. Obviously, that's the name of the game with golf, unfortunately, sometimes, but we just try to get that program going, get the feel for that. And with Kaylee, for example, last year was the same thing. She hadn't had a whole lot of experience playing golf, so that first semester, we worked on it, had a lot of one-on-one time, and she's just improved immensely over the last year. So I see that in her this year. She's going out there a lot more confident with her inner game. And then, I don't expect anything different with the spring. She's had a pretty decent falls. Scores are coming down pretty quickly. So we're having a good time. And then, as far as the guys, same thing, just, most of them are, like I said earlier, they're maybe veteran status almost already. So obviously they know what to expect, and they know what I expect from them. And, we're just looking for that consistency coming up here, and hopefully last throughout the rest of the semester.
Devan, coming into this season, I'm just kind of interested where your confidence level's at with your game. What are some things that you've been working on individually over the course of the fall, through the summer, to continue to improve, tweaks within your game coming into this season? And is there a specific part of your game where if it's clicking early in a round, it can really, bolster your confidence in terms of, okay, I'm off the tee, I'm really comfortable around the greens, whatever it is, if it's clicking, it definitely can and be a sign for, okay, I got a chance to have a little special round here coming up.
Yeah, so one thing I've really been working on is the mental game, and the mental side of everything. I've kind of stepped away from swing mechanics and thinking, okay, I need to do this, this, and this within the golf swing because, as you know, the swing's within, a couple seconds, and that's all it is. So it's the in-between parts for me, and in between the ears at this point. So as Russell, as you know, I'm our SCAC chair for our SCAC, and we're doing the takeovers and stuff like that. And so we have the Transform Your post going out right now, and mine last week was our mind's our greatest asset when it comes to sports and to daily life. And so truly being able to respond your best in the worst situation is what brings greatness. And so that's kind of what I've been working on, is figuring out how to stay present. And then whenever I do get out on the golf course and I say, okay, if I'm in my head, then that's something that I can kind of say, okay, today might not be my day. But if I can stay present on every single shot and say, okay, it's going to be all right, and worry about where I'm going, not where I've been. That's kind of where I've been at, and really just trying to figure out that side of things, because Coach can attest to this. The last several years, it's always, well, what's going on with my swing? Where am I at? Well, I feel like I'm doing this. This is what's wrong. Where at this point, I've kind of, again, going back to your previous question of looking at everything from a different perspective. So going back to your former question of the urgency and this being my last season, really looking at this as a time to kind of make a change in a positive direction, because all the changes that I have made have worked a little bit and then haven't necessarily stuck. So thinking about it from a mental side has really been important for me the last several months and the last couple rounds and stuff like that. So working on that moving into season is going to be what I think will lead to success.
Kaylee, Coach mentioned the work that you've put in and the improvement that he has seen and how excited he is for you coming into this spring semester. What are some things that you've continued to working on? And you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but now adding that team dynamic, having those teammates around you, how much has that aspect also kind of lifted your confidence and helped continue to improve your abilities out there on the golf, just having that camaraderie within the team out there on the course each and every day?
Yeah, well, I have to agree with Devin first that mind definitely matters when it comes to golf. That's something I take pride in trying to continuously work on. And not necessarily just the mental aspect when you're in the game, but being able to block out what other things you have going on in your life around you. We're all student athletes. We've got a lot going on, other activities. And sometimes it can be very hard to go into a round of golf and not be able to think about those other things that are going on in our life. And I think it's very important that we all learn to focus in just a little bit. So it's definitely something I've been working on myself. It's hard at times, definitely, but and then the other thing, obviously I am newer, so I have been working on my game just in general a little bit, but the mental aspect comes into it in a bigger way than just, being able to go out there and hit a drive or something like that. You have to be able to believe in yourself and be able to tell yourself you can do it before you can. And then with the team aspect, it has changed a lot for me now that I have a team. I feel more comfortable knowing that I have other peers beside me who also may be struggling at the same time. So it's not just me. And so I don't feel necessarily so alone. I think that's a big part that maybe some of us don't understand all the times, that we're not alone when it comes to this. We all go through this. So,
Coach, I think maybe this is an unfair question, but I think one of the toughest, challenges from a golf coach, you talk about, finding that consistency and kind of the individuality of everyone within your team and then coming together in that team aspect. What has been kind of the thing that you've maybe noticed has helped over your years as far as trying to get everyone sort of playing their best golf during that championship part of the season? Because obviously there are those ebbs and flows, and individually everybody's different, but then trying to kind of grasp that sort of magic in a bottle at that right time during the championship season. What have you found have worked well? What are the biggest challenges in trying to face that and getting a team prepared, at the end of April?
Well, the biggest challenge is, that's what we play the whole season for, is that conference championship, right? So, I try to instill them that, yes, it's a big tournament. It's where we can shine and really do some good things, make a name for ourselves, so to speak. But, I try to tell them, let's take this as just an everyday regular tournament. And it's hard to do. I mean, everybody, pros, when they, get ready for the US Open or Masters or British Open, whatever, they're working to that point. But at the same time, you got to kind of back yourself down a little bit and say, don't put that pressure on you. If you can, think of it as just a regular tournament. But unfortunately, the nature of the game of golf is there are bigger tournaments than others, and we strive obviously to do better than any other tournament in those bigger tournaments, and that's a hard thing to get the kids to realize that, hey, let's relax. We're still going to go have fun. Yes, it's a bit bigger of a tournament, possibly, but at the same time, you got to stay within yourself and hit those shots to get those good results, whether it's a big tournament or a little tournament, or smaller tournament, so to speak. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, golf is just so mental, and like we've all said, it is a team sport, but also we all know it's individual. You're out there by yourself. So the team part of it comes after the round of golf, but when you're actually playing that game around the golf course, you're out there on your own, and that's the hard part about it. You just I can't be everywhere at the same time a lot of times, so I try to feel out what they're doing, how they're playing, with live scoring or something. If they've had a bad hole, I try to get over there and get to that particular player that's maybe struggling for a few holes, and calm them down and hopefully get them back on track. But it's just so difficult to really kind of gear up to that conference championship. With golf, we know we're in it anyway, so it's not like we have to earn our way there. So sometimes I wish that was the case, that we got to earn our way into that conference championship by playing well throughout the year. So there's just so many pieces involved with golf. Anybody that knows golf, it's just all kinds of stuff going on. And like you said earlier, Russell, that every player's different. You got to coach them. You got to find out how to coach them, what works best with any particular person, and change my tune going from one golfer to another. So,
and finally, as we wrap up with our student athletes for both Devan and Kaylee, just as you talked with your teammates and leaders within your programs about some of the goals and expectations coming into this 2024 spring season, what have those conversations looked like? What are some of those goals and expectations, and ultimately what's going to be key in accomplishing those heading into the year?
Yeah, so one thing that we're really focusing on is taking each day one day at a time. Like Coach says, it's so difficult to stay present within the game of golf, and really taking each tournament as equal to the next and as the last. And so that's one thing that I know sometimes we'll have a dual match where we only go one day, and it's super straightforward, and we're just going to play one round of golf and we come back home. So it's completely different. The scores are way better than they are in a overnight. We go play a practice round, do all this. And it's like Coach has always said, if you could bottle up don't care and sell it, you'd really make some money. So one thing that we try to do is kind of, not that we don't care, but have that mentality that whatever happens is going to happen, and worrying about that next shot is really what we're worried about. And if it's in the cards that we're gonna win the tournament or something like that, then great. And if every day in golf is not going to be the greatest, but if you think of Tiger Woods, who's only his win percentage is 20%, which you hear that doesn't sound very good, but he's the best winningest golfer in all of the history. So having that mentality of just the next shot is really what we're focused on as a team. And again, just trying to get everybody to where you know, each tournament weekend that we show up, that everybody's feeling their best and ready to go out and compete.
I would say for us girls that our conversation has looked a lot like not letting our past shots define us. Not walking through the course, thinking about what we could have done better on the last hole instead of focusing on what we can do better now. And also off the course when we get off, to not let how we're playing affect how we treat our team and how we treat everybody else around us afterwards. And just to be positive. We can't go back and we can't change it. We can only look towards the future and what we can do the next time. So there's not really a sense for us to dwell on it, because at the end of the day, it's not going to change. We can only change ourselves by doing better.
And finally, Coach, as we wrap things up, obviously success in our arena can be measured and quantified in so many different ways, beyond results. And clearly just, hearing from your student athletes, that there's clear that there's that perspective even within their answers about the goals and expectations coming into the year. So when you talk about, success with your two groups, what are you trying to get across as far as that message? How do you talk about success, in those terms? And ultimately, these seasons look successful for these two teams if kind of what plays out in your eyes here in 2024?
I think my biggest idea that I try to instill in them, obviously we're doing classroom work. We want good grades. We want to be successful just with practices, something as simple as practices, get out there. I'm a big person of, quality over quantity. So if you don't have much time in the day, get out there and do some quality practice for an hour and a half. So if we can do that, and I think, you always hear the term, win the day or be better today than you were yesterday type of thing. So, a little bit of that's a little bit cliche, but, if we can do that, and then, just like Devan said earlier, be prepared for the tournament. I want them prepared here in town. So then when we go to a tournament, they can feel confident, they can relax, hopefully a little bit. Use a practice round for kind of a fun day, get to know the course, not really working on any swing mechanics, anything like that. Just get your strategies in line for the next couple of days of tournament golf. And I think if we do that, obviously we want to be competitive and have good finishes, but if we can see improvement, we may finish down the list at times, but if we can see improvement from, one day or the second day over the first day, or just that tournament over the last tournament, that's kind of how I just define successes. Golf's so hard, we're not going to win every time. Nobody can do that. But if we can just get those successes lined up one after another, and obviously you're going to take a few steps back every now and then, but for the most part, from the time we start 1st of September to the finish of conference championship, if we can truly tell ourselves that we got better throughout the year, I'm happy with that.
Centenary College ladies and gents golf programs. Again, Centenary will head into the season of the guys that head coach Emlyn Aubrey, along with leadership from senior Devan Martin and sophomore Kaylee Roberts. Coach, Kaylee, Devan, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck as you head into the season.
Thanks, Russell.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russell.